Why is everyone obsessed with race? Today I'm uploading an old conversation I had with Erna Mahyuni, columnist at the Malay Mail. She talks about the trouble of being mixed race and tips on becoming famous. Check this out. Erna Mahyuni, welcome to the show.
Hello.
I see you saying hi to Holly, our catching up cat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, she's caught up enough today.
Okay. Hi, Holly. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're welcome to the show. You are a columnist, a guest columnist for the Malay Mail.
Well, permanent columnist. They're stuck with me. So.
Oh, permanent. Okay. That's kind of it. Kind of latched on to you. Okay, but I've seen. Okay, so we know each other, and I've seen some of your posts. You've had the pleasure of going to California, was it, to see the Apple Keynotes?
Yeah, I think,
that looks fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's pretty exciting the first couple of times, but after some time, you kind of know what's gonna happen because, I mean, one thing about Apple, they're kind of predictable when it comes to events.
Oh.
Yeah, except when they put out little surprises. I mean, like, one thing, they're going to hurt everybody, okay, here are your press tags, don't lose them, we're not going to give you new ones. So after that, they shuffle you in, and after you get past security, then you get your assigned seats, and you just sit, and then first thing you see, then Tim comes in, oh, we're going to have a great show for you today. That's basically how all of them start. And then it'll be then you'll see random people, then we'll have the random presenters. So, I mean, and the thing about Apple is there's so many people who are leaking their stuff. So as media, we're basically just politely going there and pretending to be surprised.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'd be like, okay, yeah, iPhone 10 next, right, guys?
So you already kind of know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so most time we're hoping they'll sneak in a surprise.
I see.
Yeah, so but 9 out of 10 times, they manage to sneak in a little something. But I think that's one thing that's a bit annoying about leaks. Because by the time keynotes come, we kind of already know what's going to be announced, but maybe just not the specificity, not the specific details like pricing, availability, certain features. Like when they put out the iPhone 11, we already knew what it looked like. We already knew what it looked. Oh yeah, might as well, yeah. So, but I guess this was the star of the show on that particular camp. Yeah, it's the iPhone Pro in the midnight green shade. Yeah, so basically, yeah.
Please tell me that's not a sticker, right? No, that's a real thing. That's a real iPhone 11 Pro.
Yeah. Max, basically. Basically a gigantic model.
Oh, jeez, to be you, right?
Hey, it's like I basically have to sign myself. Okay, I'm sure. But basically it's exciting. You do get to you're basically the first people in the world to actually touch all the new phones, right?
Media.
Yeah. So they'll, so you get to basically try everything out. And the great thing is, you can take photos, you can take videos, and you have scores of experts on hand for you to ask questions beforehand or have them demonstrate specific features.
Okay.
Yeah, which is pretty great. How to use the camera. What do you think is the the specific what's great about the video, and specific thing, like for instance, one of the most interesting features for this particular setup is because now you have 3 cameras in the back and 1 camera in front. So you have there's this app called Filmic Pro where you can use it, where it can actually take footage from 4 cameras at once. So basically in the whole screen, so you see the front cam, you see the this cam, so you can actually see, take 4 shots at once, take 4 video shots at once. Yeah, my videographer friends was like, when it's coming out? Yeah, that's crazy. So.
Full disclosure, we're not being paid by Apple or anyone to talk about the phone. So I remember just seeing parts of the keynote that they invited a film director to demonstrate the. I believe he was the director of Tangerine. So I can see that they're trying to gear this for a film director. Say, this phone is all you need. So, okay, that is
it's interesting. It's fascinating because you get to say, I was here first. I got I mean, it's cool, but as media, it's also important because you get to have all your answers and most of your answers, questions answered right there. Yeah, because you have access to the devices right there and experts, and and it helps like when you see it in the specific setting, because it's not just like one device. You'll see like maybe like I think maybe nearly 100 phones or 100 watches and iPads, so no one really has to like fight. Okay, so of course maybe sometimes there's like 4 or 5 man queue to like test the things out, but in that part is one of the most fun bits about the keynote. Being able to like touch and play and talk and get first-hand impressions.
That's the part. That's the part that we don't really see on the keynote itself. It's what's happening behind the camera that the media people get to see and touch and play with the phones, devices firsthand.
Well, it's kind of insane because when the iPhone 10 first came out, because that was a big deal because Apple had taken a really huge design leap. They introduced the notch and they had the true depth camera. And so everybody was just wanting, and so it was funny because you could see every single wire photographer running to the display session. I was just like, okay, please don't run over me. I'm just a small Asian woman.
You mean they're lined up on this side of the room and then the devices are there and then they're
yes, really, they were running. It's because because these are media from all over the world, right? So they're all fighting to get the first photo out and the first video, and I think that's one of the great things about going to keynote. There's that energy, there's excitement, there's that sheer competition. Because like whether you like Apple products or whatnot, they generate the kind of excitement which is very hard for any other brand to match. Like I can't imagine a bunch of wire photographers running to catch a photo of the Note 10 because there's only just that one phone,
Right, because there's not the same level of love.
Yeah, it's more like anticipation, more like the first. Well, but I think you saw that especially with the iPhone 10, because it was such a significant, change from Apple's previous design philosophy. So there were longer queues and everybody wanting because it's not just newspapers, it's like online magazines, tech bloggers, video guys. Everybody just wanted to have that first hands-on because it's crucial that first particular day. Well, actually, it's the first week because everything you put out about Apple and all the devices, you're just gonna get loads and loads of hits. Because people want to know, they want to read, and they want to see.
Right.
Because not everyone can go to the keynote, so
that's why
the second best thing.
Right, that's why they're very friendly to media and journalists, because it fuels this hype and anticipation about the upcoming phones.
Yeah, you could say so. I think with all the press coverage, I mean, there's a reason why, except for a couple other brands, most other brands try not to schedule an event at the same time. But there are some who don't care. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Xiaomi's actually announced a phone event the same way. It's like, whatever, like we don't care.
Yeah, not a good idea to schedule an announcement at the same time as Apple. Ooh, no.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's just, I think one thing, it's like people talk about the media circus, but it's kind of exciting because there's this whole lead up. The leaks will come out, then the speculation where everybody will be like looking at the Excel charts. Okay, right. So what is the date of the launch?
So when can I buy?
Okay, no, it's like more like everyone's getting. So when are the invites coming out?
Oh,
yeah. So there's already. So when is the event going? I mean, like if you've done it long enough, you can pretty much predict what specific week or what specific day. But at the same time, it's fun, because you go on Twitter and you see all these tech journals and they'll be arguing, it's going to be Tuesday, no. It might be Wednesday.
just guessing the day is in itself a game already.
And having to plan, map everything out in advance and trying to clear your schedule and just in preparation and just waiting, okay, cross fingers, and just waiting to see when it'll happen and what will happen. But I mean, you know what's going to happen. So in back of your mind, you already prep. Okay, we're going to do this, because everybody has different angle, and I mean, it's fun. It's just that you just don't really get that kind of energy with any other brand.
Yeah.
Like it's not that huge amount of hype or anticipation, or it's like it or not, a whole week's just going to be Apple Week. You just kind of.
It's Apple Week.
Yeah, it's just going to be Apple Week.
They get their own week. Yeah. Very cool. Are you the only Malaysian who gets to go to these keynotes?
Fortunately not, because it'd be very boring. Oh. No, it's like usually they'd be at least one other publication. Usually the Malaysian contingent isn't quite as big. Usually there's about a few, not as many as other countries. I think it's probably because one thing, our media scene is actually really small.
I bet.
Yeah, it's really small, and it's like even though a lot of a lot of like tech blogs, etc. But when it comes to this region, Apple kind of prefers to concentrate on more traditional media. Yeah, so that's just basically how it goes. I mean, it's different in the US, because in the US, it's easier to quote like YouTubers, etc., because they have enough of a reach and they're in the US, so it's not going to cost a lot to fly some guy over from New York to California.
Right.
While in Malaysia, there's a few media outlets. It just doesn't see. Yeah, it's still a few media outlets, so you're not going to send that many people. I guess. I mean, that's. I guess. I'm not speaking on behalf of Apple. Disclaimer.
Okay. That sounds fun. I want to talk about the pieces that you write. So you're a columnist for the Malay Mail, and a lot of times you write progressive kind of stuff. And the way I understand it, a lot of times you get a lot of negative flack about the things that you write, like comments and tweets and things like that. Like, why do you think that is?
One, because it's the internet and everybody feels like they have an opinion. So yeah, and then but that's kind of part of the job. Like for me, it's a good thing, even if they're not saying great stuff about it, someone's talking about it. The absolute worst thing is for me to put out a column and not hear peep. Not a single tweet, not a single Facebook share, if I don't hear any kind of feedback online, so I'm like, okay, I guess I better try harder next week. Yeah.
So bad feedback is better than no feedback.
Yeah, because that's just how the internet works, right? Man. Yeah, and then and like it or not, it's like I pretty much expect negative feedback because it's kind of crazy how people. They really have this bad habit. I mean, it's not just in Malaysia; it's everywhere. Oh. Where they just read the headline and they go ballistic. They immediately jump to conclusions about what the column's going to be about.
Oh,
I mean, no, the funniest bit was this week. I mean, this is the first time ever in almost 5 or so years writing a column, right? Where someone was a bit upset because apparently I had singled out a specific racial community in the headline, and I was like, I didn't mention the person that I didn't mention them in the headline. Where did I mention it in the headline? I was like, public answer, I don't see it. Where is it? So it got a point where even screenshotted it, guys. It's like, have I gotten old? Do I need new reading glasses? Because I was just a bit. I mean, I wasn't upset. I was just like. I'm used to people being upset because of what's in the headline. Right. But this is the first time someone's gotten upset over something that wasn't in the headline.
Because it's bad enough that they read the headline and then they make assumptions about it. But now they couldn't even get the headline right.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. But I think that's the nature of the internet, honestly. I mean, I think has its good points, it has its bad points. I mean, for me, the bad point is it's also one reason. Okay, this is free tech advice. Free tech advice. So if you're somewhat public, or even you think that somewhere down the line, your name will be out there, right? Get your own domain name, keep it, and make sure, because that's the only way to make sure when someone Googles your name, that's the first thing that comes up.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why my name. my website, you Google me, that's the first thing that comes out. Because the thing is, in my line, because I have so much stuff out there, and of course, so many people angry about my stuff. So when you Google me, it's going to be half my bylines and half people ranting about my bylines. So if I don't have my own website, right, I have no idea what's going to be the first hit when someone Googles me.
That's smart, because if you don't have your own domain,
yeah,
and then the first thing that's going to appear is IHateErna.com.
Yes. Yeah, so you never know. It's like, at least I know what will be the first hit, because that's how Google works. Because when you search someone's name, and if you own that domain, that is the first thing that will come out. So you kind of have to game Google a little bit.
I see. Okay, so that's advice. If you want to be famous, buy your own domain name. That's right. Yeah. So you posted something recently on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just a couple of days ago, you were talking about. I assume it was in response to somebody talking about how people like to group people into boxes.
Yeah.
Into groups. What was that all about?
Oh, okay. Well, one thing about Twitter. Twitter is fun and very real-timey. It's like basically you're standing on a soapbox, and then people will just see you on that soapbox and respond. But the thing about Twitter is that there's this very high likelihood that you're going to be taken out of context, because one tweet, because sometimes people just see that one tweet, they don't see the tweet before it. They don't see the tweet after it, and they immediately look at the tweet immediately and think, that you mean something that you don't necessarily mean in the context of the thing. Okay, so basically, what happened in this particular instance was a friend of mine he's Chinese but a bit swarthy, so people often mistake him for something not Chinese.
A bit what?
Swarthy, like dark.
Okay.
Yeah, dark. Yeah. So it's a bit dark. So he's there in the kopitiam with his with a fellow Chinese. Happens to be a girl. Then there's these Chinese uncles. Chinese uncles and kopitiams are the worst. It's like it's like they'll just say the absolutely un-PC things ever. All you have to do is go to any kopitiam, sit in a corner, there will be at least 2 or 3 uncles saying something that you'll be like, if the ISA was still active, you'd be in jail, uncle. Right. So these two slightly older gentlemen were talking. They seemed disturbed seeing my friend there. They, of course, one, assumed he was Chinese. 2, and because they thought he was Chinese, they decided, okay, let's insult him in Chinese. It's like, why are Chinese girls mixing around with all these other races? They shouldn't sully the blood of the dragon. I'm like, okay,
the blood of the dragon.
So, okay, right. So I'm a bit of a nerd and a tiny bit of a history buff, right? So I just tweeted, Uncle what dragon? What dragon? Your ancestors were laborers. So some people thought I was insulting, being insulting or Chinese, whatever. But the thing is, they don't understand the context, because in ancient China, dragons were considered imperial symbols. If you were a commoner, you could not use the dragon symbol in any way, and if you did, you'd basically be killed.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd be crazy, Just like not right now. Now it's like you could be dressed head to toe with dragons all over, and no one's gonna just. It's like they're racing. Wow, you have bad taste. That's all that happened in China. Commoner, what? Why are you wearing that dragon emblem off with your head? Yeah, right. So that was basically what I meant.
Right,
because Chinese immigration, most of them came because it's basically the history of Chinese immigration into Malaysia. So I was like, descendants of dragon, don't be so full of yourself. I mean, that's basically what I meant. Suddenly someone got angry, you don't have to be racist and try to point at racism. I was kind of a little bit upset, and it's like, great. Oh yeah, okay guys, I have to tell, see, this is how you get taken out of context. Then I had to do this whole long thingy, and I was like, and I had to explain Chinese history. I was like, why do I have to explain Chinese history to Chinese person? Okay, and then second, I have zero issues with Chinese having Chinese history because my great grandmother was Hakka. My Hakka, they were farmers. They basically immigrated over to East Malaysia. Worked the farms because in East Malaysia you didn't have mines.
Yeah.
You didn't have mines. So basically, most of them came over to farm, business, and whatnot. So I said, yeah. So he's like, yeah, my great grandmother was Hakka. They were probably laborers. I have zero issue with that. So
Right.
I'm just talking in historical context.
Right.
It's like to call yourself descendant of the dragon. It implies that you came from royalty, and
Right.
that's historically
Right.
inaccurate. So maybe don't be using, but of course, that's also the whole point about you shouldn't sully your race and blah blah blah. It's that's a whole other conversation in Malaysia, which is ridiculous. And the thing is, because I'm East Malaysian, it makes it even more what? Because you come here, it's like, oh, you're from Sabah. How long have you been in Malaysia? Okay, please.
As if Sabah's not Malaysia.
Yeah,
right?
it's ridiculous because in Malaysia, it's it doesn't help. Even tourists, Malaysia consists of 3 races: Malay, Indian, Chinese. And what am I, a ghost? Right. It's
no, they have a name for that. It's an unfortunate name, down line. Right?
Yeah, and others.
And others, yeah. Just
Malaysia,
the box on that form that you tick, this and others, right?
Yeah, so it's just it's just ridiculous. And when over in West Malaysia, because there's that particular obsession with those 3 subgroups.
Yeah.
Subgroups, right? It also doesn't help that because I'm a little tan, so people always assume I'm a certain race, and which is also very presumptuous because that race isn't all tan. There are plenty of fair Malays, slightly darker Malays, etc. So, and it's really weird when people are saying, people call me a race traitor. I'm not even Malay, dude.
A race what?
Race traitor. Yes,
people call you a race traitor.
Yeah, so race traitor, traitor my race. What race are you? To go to the point where it's I have to actually mention my particular ethnicity on my Twitter bio so I don't get called a race traitor. But then one time when I did that, I was really upset at the time because race just is annoying. So I actually had to change my Facebook name, etc. So I said, I was very direct. I'm always very direct. I just said, okay, I did all this so you people will stop mistaking me for race A. And then I got people angry. What's wrong with race A?
There's nothing you can do right at this point.
No, nothing. It's
there's always someone, right?
Okay, it's being mistaken for, it's being mistaken for being that race so bad. Do you have a problem with them?
That's not the point.
Yes, I know. So it's no matter what I do, I can't win. So it's got a point where I just decided, well, whatever I say, people are going to be angry, so I'll just say whatever I want. So it has gotten to that point.
You've transcended your longing for approval now because no one is going to approve you anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well just it's tough to be mixed race here, right?
Yeah.
Because people will try to put you in a certain box. Mm-hmm. The forms will put you in a certain box, literally.
Yeah.
Right? It's I mean so that coming back to that uncle in the kopitiam, all he did was he saw a
darker skinned
Chinese person standing next to a Chinese girl.
Yes.
And they assumed that he wasn't Chinese.
Yes.
And that was a problem for some reason.
That was a problem.
Oh.
Yeah, so in Malaysia, everybody, you have people say, can we stop talking about race? At the same time, we can't ever stop talking about race. And there's some people who, there was this movement who were like, I'm colorblind, I don't see race. And I'm like, no, dude, you can't do that. You can't do that because, even though race is a construct, you can't, for instance, someone spills blood somewhere and you take it back to the lab, there's absolutely no way you can actually truthfully determine what race the person is from their blood. So genetic-wise, race is a construct. So race itself is the way we are taught about race in Malaysia is very limiting, and it's in a way it's not very correct. Mm-hmm. For instance, it's more like ethnic groups, and sometimes with ethnic groups, it's about how you identify yourself
Yeah.
or them. And the problem I have also in Malaysia is there is no space for people who are of mixed ethnicity. Yeah, there is this insistence that you must follow your father's race. And it's like, what if I think my dad's race isn't cool and I want to go by my mother's race?
Yeah, and then even that becomes patriarchal.
Yeah,
you know?
it becomes. Yeah, so it's ridiculous. Or even maybe you were raised by your mother's people and you just identify yourself more, or maybe more, and maybe because like friends of mine, if they're half a certain race, but they look more like a certain type, so they just find it easier to say they just want to be able to choose, but you can't choose in Malaysia. That's a ridiculous thing.
So bad.
Yeah.
If you inherit the culture of A and you're raised as such and you identify as such, but you look like B,
yes, then you're
messed up. Yeah,
it's over. So it's messed up. I mean, like in Sabah, we have a slightly different approach to that. Okay, I'm probably going to offend so many Chinese people, but but basically, what happened with Sabah is really weird. I think we have the most intercultural marriages. I don't know why. My joke is this: is like. In West Malaysia, the Chinese immigrants moved to Malaysia. Oh man, there aren't enough women here. Let's bring in more, right?
Okay.
And then most Chinese immigrants to Sabah were Hakka, right? They were and they're known for being very much diaspora. People go everywhere and whatnot. So my thinking is probably the Hakka dude instead, there aren't enough. It's like when they hear the other dude say there aren't enough women, it's like, what do you mean not enough? What are those walking on two legs? so basically, there were so many Hakka men married Sabah Bumiputra women that if you didn't consider their offspring Bumiputra, they would not have the status. And Bumiputra status is such a big thing in Malaysia. So what happens is we have this status called Sijil Anak Rakyat, meaning soil, sons of the soil. Okay. So basically, even though your dad's Chinese, but if your mother is Bumiputra, all you have to do is, but I think because there was some problems with falsification of ID or not, so the kids would still be Bumiputra. So you have Tan Ai Ming, Bumiputra, and it always makes West Malaysians' brains just go.
That does not compute.
Yeah, that does not compute.
Okay.
Because that's just how. Because that is just how it works in East Malaysia. I mean, Sabah specifically, and because there's so many Chinese people, so many people who are half Chinese or identify themselves as half Chinese, and they want to integrate in that, so they call themselves Sinos. Yeah. So basically, they don't call themselves Kadazans or Chinese. I'm Sino, meaning they're telling you I'm half this or half that. So basically, that's something I don't see anywhere else, right? You are basically two cultures, and you embrace them both, and being of that particular mix gives you your own sort of identity.
Okay. Yeah. These are issues that are born and raised in Malaysia.
So it's just like that.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. Catch Erna Mahyuni on her column on Malay Mail. Thank you for being on the show.